Hi, my name is Henry Ford II, and I'm the master builder at Detroit Bikes. Today, this video is for you to show you how to put together your 2017 New Belgium Brewery bicycle made by us here at Detroit Bikes. Let's see what we have. First thing, and probably the easiest thing you want to remove, would be the front wheel. Take your time while you're moving it and remove all the packing. Set it aside for later. All right, now that the wheel is out the way, now we can look at our handlebars and get that ready for us to remove the whole bike out. Being connected, you want to take your time and just simply slide your handlebars off the package. Sometimes the cables may be wrapped around, so just get those out the way. There will be a plastic cap. Go ahead, remove that, and discard the cap. Feel free to go ahead and place your handlebars into the stem of your bike. That way you have your hands free to now remove the whole bike out of the box and place it on your stand. Once on the stand, feel free to take your time and remove all of the packing materials before we get started to the next step. All right, we've got our parts box unpacked, all of our sub-assemblies together. Now we're back to working on the bike. First thing I want to do is put on the pedals. The pedals are individually sided, left and right. And that is indicated on the edge of the pedals where the thread is. So you look for the R that goes on the right side. Look for the L that goes on the left side. Now they are threaded differently per side, but once you figure out which side pedal you need for which side of the bike you're on, the easy way to remember is to turn forward to put it on the bike, turn backwards to back it off the bike. Left pedal, left side, right pedal, right side, both forward to install. Use your 15 millimeter once you've got them threaded in by hand. Go ahead, give them a good snug. Next, we're going to move on to our front fender and front brake caliper installation. So we have our sub-assembled front fender with our front fender bracket and front fender. You will need an M6 and an M3 tool for this job. First thing I do is remove the barrel that comes from the end of the brake caliper. Now there will be a fat washer that remains on the caliper and goes in front of the bracket on the fender. So I feed the bracket through the brake caliper and align the stud to the bracket on the fender. And I gently guide it through the front fork, place the stud through the fork, and use my barrel nut to fasten together. Now, because we are going in a voided area of the fork, you really cannot see. So if you need to take a moment to align your threads to your stud, feel free to do that. I've been doing it for several times, so by feel, I can know when I'm started or not. Once you got it started by hand, you want to go ahead and snug down with your number 6 tool. Do not over tighten, this needs to remain movable. Once snug and still movable, we're done with the M6. And now we are using an M3 with 2 fasteners and washers that came out of your parts bag. These fasteners will go into the end of the bracket down to the drop out of the fork. 1 set of washer and screw for each side. For the fit that we've designed, there will be a little tension when installing, so be sure to help yourself. Make sure the entrance for your fastener is straight through from the fender bracket to the drop out of the fork. Once you got them both started, now we can tighten them both together. That will conclude the use of our number 3 Allen. Now that we have our fender bracket and fender sub-assembly installed on our fork with our front caliper, next would be the front wheel. The only tool you'll need will be a 15mm wrench and 2 acorn nuts that are found in your parts bag. I also went ahead and installed the reflector, which is also located in your parts bag. When installing, I want to make sure I put the tire between the 2 brake pads and hold flush to the bottom of the dropout. Then I will secure with my 15mm wrench. Tightening one side, switching over to the other, securing that, double checking, they're tight, and then making sure there's no rubbing or anything after the installation. If there is rubbing, you can manipulate gently the fender with the bracket, as well as twisting by loosening your brake caliper from the back of your fork. Now that we've installed our front wheel, we can look at our handlebars and get this mess all squared away. The tools you will need will be a number 8, a number 6, and a number 4 Allen key. You can use our individual tools as I showed you, or a nifty little three-way that has each side on one unit. So the first thing I want to do is set our stem length. We just dropped it in, so we do not want to ride with it bottomed out. Depending on the height of the rider would vary on your stem length. For an average rider, I'll remove it so it's about 1.5 to 2 inches high. Once I've got it positioned, I'll go ahead and secure, making sure the stem and the front wheel fender are in complete alignment. Once you're happy, go ahead and lock. Same number 6 can be used for the front of the stem, so we can get our tilt and alignment for our front handlebars. So this should be already loose. Then you can feel free to make the adjustment as needed. Once you're happy, go right ahead and lock that down. Next, we have both our front brake levers and our shift lever that we want to align symmetrically. We'll go ahead and flip our reflector around to the front and align the brake on the drive side. Now that we've got our cable secured, our rear brake cable and our shifter, just verify and check, make sure there's no binding with our front brake cable, and it should just flow gracefully to the front brake caliper. Speaking of the caliper, let's get at that and make sure we're ready to ride. For that, we'll need a number 4 Allen. To align your brake caliper, go ahead and take your number 4 Allen and loosen. Just takes a turn or two. And then you want to align it directly to the flat surface of your wheel. And once you have it aligned where it follows the curvature and there's no hard edges, go ahead and secure. Repeat, do the same thing on the other side. Now once you've got your pads positioned and locked into place, now we want to address the performance of the pads. Full depression of the brake lever at this time does not allow full contact of the pad. To fix that, quite simple, just a number 5 Allen. Which can be used just above the drive side brake pad to loosen the tensioner for your cable and to be drawn tight to allow quicker performance. To do so, I squeeze both calipers against the wheel, and that also allows me to verify I've got even contact on both sides. Take my number 5, release the cable with just a twist, pull the slack out, making sure that our housing is fully encased in the caliper and up top to the brake. Go ahead and tighten it back down. Once it's snug, you can go ahead and lock the position. Check your action on your brake lever and go ahead and give your wheel a spin to make sure there's no drag. If there happens to be a drag, all you have to do is slightly release your cable tension and repeat the process to get the reaction that you want from your lever. One last thing we need to do before we can remove from the stand is install our seat and seat post. Our last sub-assembly that we did was attaching our saddle to the seat post. I went ahead and installed our collar that comes in the parts bag. Go ahead and drop your saddle in. Once you get the desired height, and make sure it's straight, aligned with your top tube, pick your number 5, and lock in. So we've installed our seat post and tightened our collar down. One last thing before we can actually get on this baby and ride, and that's fill our tires with air. Very simple. Grab your pump. Very important. Go ahead and remove your valve cover. Attach your pump and inflate to 60 psi for your front and rear. Replace the valve cover. Remove from the stand. Any fine adjustments, that'll be a time to do it, and you're ready to ride.